Hey, what's going on, guys? We have a question here from one of you guys, from Ryan Pingo. The question is, what differences and benefits do you see between single and double kettlebell training? Can someone just stick with singles and still build muscle and strength? The short answer is yes. Of course, you can still build strength and muscle just with a single kettlebell. It depends, obviously, on the weight of the kettlebell that you use, as well as the types of exercises and the number of reps, the number of sets, and all those sort of typical factors that come into play when it comes down to physical training. But I think the double kettlebell training, double kettlebell exercises allow you to really obviously stack up the weight. For example, when you're doing a double kettlebell swing or a double kettlebell push press or clean and jerk, for example, you can really overload your body and subject your body into a pretty significant amount of weight. And due to the nature of kettlebell training and ballistic movements, your body is having to resist quite a bit amount of weight when you're practicing with two kettlebells. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot achieve the same or very similar effects training with one kettlebell, because you can look around online and there are dinosaur-sized kettlebells that you can work with. You can do very heavy single kettlebell swings with these guys, but at some point the size gets so big it just becomes too impractical. But when it comes down to single kettlebell training, what I really like is actually the sort of unilateral nature of all of the movements that you do. When you're doing a single kettlebell press, single kettlebell clean, swing, or snatch, you're actually having to twist and resist a lot of rotational forces with your entire body. So it's not just your torso, right? It's your legs, your shoulders, your abs, your core, your back. If you ever really try to work with heavy single kettlebell movements, for example snatches, you'll find that the movements do feel a lot more kind of natural than double kettlebells, for example. Another good example is the overhead press. If you are using a single kettlebell overhead press, you're able to kind of shift the weight of your body a little bit, to be able to press the kettlebell upwards. Whereas with the double kettlebells overhead press, sometimes your shoulder mobility can be a limiting factor, and having to sort of stay upright sort of limits the movement range or the amount of weight that you can lift with the kettlebell. So the overhead press and the snatch are two examples of exercises that I personally prefer to do the single kettlebell version compared to the double kettlebell version. Now, it doesn't mean that there isn't a place and time for the double kettlebell version, but the single kettlebell version on the overhead press just allows you to press even more weight than the double kettlebell, because, as I said, you're able to just kind of bend over your body a little bit in order to exert more power and force to be able to push more weight on a single kettlebell. The snatch is the same thing. If you've ever tried to do double kettlebell snatches, it feels a little bit unnatural and uncomfortable, but with the single snatch, it's almost like you're yanking out the kettlebell. Or if you've ever tried to start a lawnmower, for example, right, you can exert this explosive and powerful force just by ripping the kettlebell from the ground, and the rotational force that you exert on the kettlebell feels very, very natural and smooth, as opposed to doing the double kettlebell snatch. Okay, so I think those are the differences that I personally have experienced when it comes down to single kettlebell versus a double kettlebell training. Okay, so Ryan, there you go. Thank you for submitting the question. Hope that helps.